So you're getting comfortable with the computer, the calculator, and so when you get the screen, the very first thing is you're gonna hit the number 1, and then you're gonna see this options, and so calculator is a 1, okay? That's gonna put you to a calculator screen. When that little page comes on at the very beginning, you're just gonna hit enter, and then you're gonna hit 1, and for new document, and then 1 for calculator, okay? So that's going to help you get to a calculator screen. Now, we're talking about order of operations today, but since you get to use a calculator, the calculator does it for you. So we are going to start on the first problem. So we're going to do 10 to the 4th. Now, when you enter this in your calculator, you're actually going to do 10, and I call this the carrot top 4. So on your calculator, remember you're already on a blank screen, 10, and then the carrot top is beside the 4, and then you put 4, you hit enter. Notice there's 4 zeros. And that's your answer. Make sure you count the 4 zeros. Okay, anytime you have a lot of zeros, make sure you count the zeros. On number 2, what you'll need to remember is the parentheses, which are on the bottom left, kind of on the 0 side. This is the minus. Now, there is a difference between minus and negative. So the minus sign looks like this. A negative looks like this on your calculator. When you see something in between, you do not use the one with the parentheses. Don't use that one, okay? And this dot, since it's in the middle, this is raised. If it's a raised dot, then you're going to do multiplication. You're going to hit the multiplication button, okay? So we're going to enter it straight into your calculator. So 12, parentheses, 20, here's my minus, 17, close parentheses, minus 3, and then times 6. So you see there's your raised dot, so it looks exactly like it. You hit enter, you get 18. So your answer is 18. All right, on number 13, what you need to do first is I need to get this bar. Now to get that bar, and I'm going to do this right here, take your highlighter, that's that carrot top, is to get an exponent, all right? So you've got that bar. To get that bar, you're going to hit Control, Divide. Hit Control, Divide, and that's what creates that bar, all right? So Control, and then divide. Now we're going to enter that in. So you got 4 plus 3. Now I can either do carrot top 2, carrot top, and then 2, which is fine. I'm going to show you another way to do this square in a minute. Put the arrow down, yep, and then you do 12 plus 1. So always be checking as you're going to make sure it's entering, and that's a 1. All right, on number 4. Now I'm going to enter it just like it looks. To get these brackets right here, you have to do Control. So to get those, it's Control and then parentheses, because it's the yellow above it. Okay, it's the yellow above it. Now I'm going to show you what happens when I enter it just like that. So 250 divided, and then I do Control, parentheses there. See, there's my little bracket. And you have 5, parentheses, 3 times 7. So remember, it's a raised dot, so it's the time sign, close parentheses, plus 4. Oh, there's not any parentheses yet. So if that happens, like I didn't mean to put the parentheses, I'm just going to arrow over, delete. There you go. And then behind the plus, there's a 4. Now, make sure that it looks exactly like it. And then you notice there's a closed parenthesis and a bracket. If I just hit enter, it's going to fix it. Now you see, it says that argument's in the wrong spot, so you're going to hit OK. And since there's an error in the wrong spot, I'm going to show you how you can go back. If this happens on the day of your homework assignment, don't go back and erase everything, because I can scroll up and see what's wrong, but I'm going to show you how you can fix it. So if you up arrow, oops, it went up too far. Okay, I'm going to go onto the problem and hit enter. That brings the problem back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to delete this 250, and we're also going to delete that division sign. So alright. Now I think we got done with our, I should just have parentheses in the bracket and then 5 times. That's all I did was just take off that 250 and the division sign. Now the answer is 125. what I did is I did this part first. So I just went back and I did this part first. Now I'm going to bring down the 250 and I'm going to bring down my division, and instead of this I'm going to use 125. Okay? So on your calculator, now do 250 divided by 125 and then hit enter, and your answer is 2. So if you get a mistake on your calculator, like for some reason it just wouldn't allow me to enter it just like it was, you can always do the back part, the part that's in the brackets. You can do that by itself and then go back and reinsert it in the problem, and that's not a problem. Okay, now pause the video and try 5, 6, and 7 by yourself, and then we'll come back and look at that. Okay, when you finish the top section, 5, 6, and 7, we're going to look at evaluating. Now, when I evaluate, that means I'm going to replace. So I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to substitute or replace. You'll hear that word substitute. Like when you have a substitute teacher, it's someone that's filling in for me. So substitute means to replace. So we are going to substitute a number in for a variable, and we're going to solve it. So we're going to do just like what we did before, but we're going to go one extra step and we're going to evaluate. So look at the example. I have two variables. It says that x, so I'm going to look for x. X is right here. Wherever I see x, I'm going to replace it with the number 2. So here's my x, and so wherever I see x, I'm going to mark that out, and instead I'm going to put a 2. Now, some of you like to just mark it out, put it underneath. That's fine. Some of you like to rewrite it. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to replace x with the number 2. Then I'm also going to replace y with 12. So wherever you see y, so there's a y. So wherever I see y, I'm going to put a 12. So mark out the y and put the number 12. So y becomes a 12. Now, I'm going to enter this into my calculator just like we did a while ago. Now, you've got 2. Remember to get that raised. It's an exponent, and then 3. Anytime you have that 2, exponent 3, and I want you to take a different color highlighter because this is very, very important. I'm going to take the pink one. So when there's an exponent back behind it, you're going to have to hit the arrow button. Okay? You can always hit like down arrow. What it does is it spaces it. So you're going to hit the down arrow. You see that makes that cursor nice and long again so that I'm ready to put that in. So then you do plus 5. Parentheses, and then you have 12 minus 3, close parentheses. And then you hit enter, and it's 53. Okay. And then, so let's do 4 more problems. So we're going to evaluate. The very first thing now, you've got 3 different colors. So here's x is 2. I'm going to go through, I'm going to look for all my x's. Okay, so just so that I visually remember. And then I've got, I'll use green. So let's look, green is going to be y. So if you see a y, look for y. I think it just helps some of you to, because some of the letters can kind of blend. Let's do the pink. Z is 4. And so if we go too fast, sometimes we replace the wrong thing. Okay, so now we visually can see what we need to replace. Now the other thing that I want you to remember, anytime you see a number next to a variable, it means multiply. So we're going to put parentheses right there so that that remembers I have to multiply. So wherever you see variables right next to each other, go ahead and put parentheses. Anytime you see variables next to each other, you put parentheses. All right? So now we're ready to go. So the x is now a 2. So I have to do 3 parentheses 2 minus 5. So now enter that in your calculator. 3 parentheses 2 minus 5. That's 3 times 2 minus 5, which is 1. On this one, so y is 3. So 3 squared over z is 4. 4 squared. Now some of you really like marking that out and putting it right there. That's fine. So some of you like to rewrite it, some of you like to mark it out. Either way, whichever is more successful for you, that's what I want you to do. 3. Now, you know we could do the carrot top, but also beside the carrot top, there's one, that has, I hit that twice, that just has a little exponent 2. You can do that, just 3 squared, arrow down, and then we have 4 squared. And that automatically puts a 2 on it for you. All right, so that's 9/16. Now, I can leave that answer as 9/16, but some of you have asked, how do you make a decimal? So if you want to make it a decimal, you hit Control, Enter. So from right there, you just hit Control, Enter, and it changes it to a decimal. So that would be 56/100ths, or you can go ahead and say 5,625 thousandths. Some people like to round to the hundreds, it's 56/100ths, which is fine. In different situations, you need different, depends on how specific or detailed you need to be. On the next one, so the X is a 2, the Y is a 3, and the Z is a 4. Now, it's very important that you put those parentheses. So some of you like to just put it underneath, and then some of you like to rewrite the whole thing. Either way is fine, but remember that whatever is, the 2 will come down as it is, the +5 will come down as it is, and then everything else changes to a number. So make sure you put the parentheses in there. So 2 parentheses, oops, the first one is a 2, isn't it? So if you make a mistake, you don't have to just delete and then put that in. Parentheses 3, parentheses 4. And then you have +5. Now make sure you close your parentheses, enter. So that's 53. Now, guys, I want to show you what happens, because some of you are like, well, why do I have to put the parentheses? If I just do 2, 2, 3, 4, and then +5, look at the difference. There is a difference between 53 and 2,239. So that is not the same thing. If variables are next to each other or they're next to a number, that means times. And so times is represented with parentheses. You have to do that. All right, on the last one. So the X is a 2, the Y is a 3, the Z is a 4. Okay, X is a 2, Z is a 4. So if you want to rewrite that, which I think it's helpful, some of you like to rewrite it because then you type it in the correct way. And then the 2 parentheses 4. So if you want to rewrite it, you can. If you're good with plugging it in and you can keep that straight, that is fine. But make sure you enter the parentheses. So 3, parentheses 2, and then parentheses 4, plus 3 over 2 parentheses 4. Okay, and you hit enter. So you got 27/8. Now you can leave it like that or Control Enter and get 375 thousandths. Okay, so you can either have the answer 27/8, which sometimes people like fractions as their answers, or you can change it to a decimal, 3 and 375 thousandths. Now you try numbers 5 and